Hi there. So I want to review for you adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. So when you are adding polynomials, you're combining like terms. So for instance, I can combine x squares with x squares and 7x's with x's and numbers, constant numbers with constant numbers. Some people like to write it out, like separate it out. So I want to go ahead and do that for you. Other people can just look at it, but until you get good at it. So if I rewrite this, 2x squared, it's my x squared term, 7x minus 1. Then I'm going to line up my x squares and my numbers. So if you're lined up, it's easier to not make a mistake because you can only combine terms that are alike, and x squares are alike, so that would be 7x squared, and x's are alike, so that would be plus 10x, and negative 1 plus 6, negative 1 plus positive 6 would be positive 5, and that would be your solution. You could have one like this, where you have like 5x to the third plus 11x plus 2 plus 4x squared plus 3x minus 1. Okay, so I'm going to line these up as well just to make sure I'm adding the correct things. So I have 5x to the third. You notice here I don't have an x squared term, so I can put a 0 there if I need to like a kind of a placeholder so I don't add the wrong things. So I have x to the third. I don't have an x squared term, but I have an x term, 11x, and I have a number, a constant. And I'm adding to that, well, I've got 4x squared, but it doesn't look like I have any x to the third power, so I'm going to put a 0 there, just as a placeholder, plus 4x squared plus 3x minus 1. And this is writing it in a standard form where you start with your largest exponent and you move your way down to just a number. So your answer would be, after I combine it, 5x to the third plus 4x squared plus 14x plus 1. So that's how you add. When you subtract, you essentially do the same thing. So if I have 9x to the third plus 2x squared plus 1 minus 7x to the third plus 8x squared plus 2x, and leave it at that. So I'm going to do the same thing and line them up. I've got my x to the third, my x squared. I don't have an x term, so I have 0 x's and I have a 1. I'm subtracting 7x to the third plus 8x squared plus 2x, and I don't have a term there. So remember when you're subtracting, so I'm subtracting this positive, right? So 9x to the third minus 7x to the third is 2x to the third. And 2x squared minus 8x squared would give you negative 6x squared. 0x minus, I have nothing here, so 0x minus 2x would just give you negative 2x, because you have to take into account that negative. And then I have 1 minus 0, so that would just be plus 1. The other way to look at this is that when you have a subtraction outside this set of parentheses, you're distributing a negative 1 here, so that changes all of the signs for every term in here. So that became a negative, that 8x squared became a negative, that 2x also became a negative. So this is how to add and subtract. I'm going to come back with my next video about multiplying in just a minute.